Fans, welcome to this week's Sports Chat. A little bit to talk about this week. Football season is over for the Cougars anyway.
Cougars, yeah, they got a pretty bad game against Gray County. Was able to have opportunities, move the ball some, but much like very early in the season, had really big issues inside the red zone. Had a fumble on the goal line going in for a touchdown from the 1 yard line. Just a lot of bad things happened to the Cougars, and it just was what it was. Road game, raining a little bit in the playoffs against a very good team. And we kind of come on the short side of it.
Yeah, and Ray County is a good team. I mean, they handle Clinton pretty well. They play in a tough district. Came in second in it. I expect the Cougars will take a week or two off, reload. Maybe time to start the off-season workouts.
Yeah, a lot of good stuff coming back next year for Campbell County. A lot of youth on the team, a lot of sophomores, a lot of juniors on the team. So another playoff run next year should be in the cards, I would think.
Hopefully we can maybe even host one next year. I know it's going to be a tough road because Farragut and Oak Ridge are both very good teams.
You know, Farragut's going to lose quite a bit, but they restock a little bit, as does Oak Ridge, of course. But Campbell County came down to the last game of the season with a chance to get there and host that game. That's all you can ask for. And hopefully next year they get over the hump. They'll have some games at home that were on the road this year. They'll get Farragut at home. They'll get Oak Ridge at home. And, Clinton will be at home. So some of their tough games that were on the road this year will be at home next year. And some of their easy games that were at home will be on the road next year. And those should be more winnable. It should be more winnable at Lenore City than going down to Oak Ridge. It should be more winnable
At Carnes and going to Farragut.
And going to Farragut and so on and so forth. So, the thing's set up pretty well. Get Zach Rutherford another. And Campbell County did run the.
What we talked about.
They put Josh Lay in at running back and would snap it directly to him occasionally. So it doesn't surprise me that Justin did that. Very creative ways to make his playmakers have their ball as much as possible.
And we really going to have that dual threat option again next year if needed. I expect that maybe you'll see Josh at receiver more.
If you get more wide receiver development, you'll see a lot more Zach, but still Josh is such a potent weapon running out of the backfield.
He is dynamic, and he's
probably not going to see that package completely gone. And you never know what injury may come up or not. Both quarterbacks got injured at some point this year, so both need to be heavily ready to be heavily involved. And you've got Shane Bowen and a few other guys that also may need to get involved next year. You just never know yet what you're going to get. Big Mike comes back on the defensive line, forced to be reckoned with, so that's good news. There's a lot of bright future for Campbell County football. I mean, the playoff run probably is going to extend on into next year, I would think. They're going to strength and make major improvements in some of the other schools. Obviously with Clinton, even though we beat them, I think Clinton's going to go down a little bit with Thackerson gone and another year removed from Rodney Allison's offense. No offense to Sean Jesse. Rodney's really, 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 really good.
And Rodney, he ended the season with a win in the Character Bowl over at Grace Christian against Lenore City, a district team.
Yeah, I mean, Rodney got his kids some good extra game experience. You can play a bowl game if you miss the playoffs, if you're willing to go foot the expense to do so. And Powell felt that it was a good investment, and I'm just glad, honestly, that Rodney's going to apparently be at Powell next year.
Yeah, I mean, with the turmoil that Powell's been known to have, I mean, there was that worry with him.
I mean, you never know how. It doesn't matter how. Powell coaches go to the state championship game and they're out. You just never know with that school what's going to happen. I shouldn't say that already because you never know. He's still got the second half of the year to go, but him not teaching at Powell probably helped a lot.
It definitely has to. And speaking of the second half of the year, this Friday night, Cougar basketball has a big event.
Now the classic Cougar Crazies alumni pretty much kick off to the season event.
Fun little game. You're going to get to see some of your old favorites in action if you go down there. I'd say you'll see Bo Vincent on the court. There's just so many good basketball players that came through over the years. You never know who's going to be there.
Yeah, I mean, they'll go out, they'll, goof around, see a bunch of us old folks running around up nearly dying probably. Sometimes it seems like the veterans, and they edge out those high school kids pretty much yearly in this game. We'll have to see who all is there, and it is a fun event. It's a good way to kick the season off. Week before the holiday tournaments will start up, and probably not going to be a lot of Cougar home action early on, other than if they host their own holiday tournament like they did last year.
Right.
But they tend to be, they'll go to Gatlinburg for a while. They'll play a lot of road games. It's just the nature of the early season in basketball. So it's a good opportunity to go out and catch up with everything, get a look at everybody, talk to the coaches. They're very friendly people. Ask them how it's going.
And of course, we're less than 2 weeks away from Jacksboro La Follett's first meeting on the basketball court. Always a big game.
Yeah, that middle school rivalry going. Both teams can make some noise in the district tournament this year. Jacksboro's done very well in it the last few years. And La Follette did a pretty well in it last year. Coach Kane took them, I think, a pretty deep run, didn't he?
Oh yes, Michael did a good job with it, and I expect him to do well with it this year. And you'll see, that's your chance to see some more future Cougars in action. We've had some healthy talent come through the middle schools. The girls team in particular will benefit this year, whereas the boys team benefited last year from a lot of the stars coming up.
Well, it's a good time for sports. I mean, you get 2 games a week in middle school. You get 2 games a week in high school. So I mean, La Follette's playing 2, Jellicoe's playing 2, Jacksboro's playing 2, Cougars are playing 2. There's a lot of basketball games going on. Plus, there's elementary school basketball going on. Basketball's a busy season. So you've got to squeeze 4 games or so.
Elementary school basketball season is probably about halfway over now. We did the jamboree several weeks ago.
They'll be having their tournament before Christmas, right before Christmas breaks when their tournament goes down. Very strange. It used to be after January because I used to play. But that was a long time ago, and things change, I guess. But school used to start later then too.
On the college front, UT this week got a win over South Carolina. It was not the prettiest of wins.
It's 1 step forward, 2 steps back, 2 steps forward, 1 step back. There's never any just taking steps forward and not having some kind of back in it is a problem. I mean, looked great, got out to the 17-point lead, as Tennessee has often been wanting to do this year, and when Tennessee gets that 17-point lead, ultra conservative, roll up in a ball, and it's disturbing to me that that's the 9th game of the season. You're doing the same mistakes you made in the 2nd game of the season, and the 3rd game of the season, and the 4th game. You have to know that you can't do that anymore. I mean, I don't understand. I mean, South Carolina, not a good team. They're so bad that Spurrier quit. I said, "My God, we're bad.
I'm done.
I should never have let the team get this far gone. It's so bad. I'm quitting." And South Carolina's 3-6. Good teams that are improving take that 17-0 lead and turn it into a 24 and a 31, and it looks like the Kentucky game. And you blow the South Carolina out. I think South Carolina's better than Kentucky because Kentucky's god-awful. And Kentucky's one of the worst sporting franchises of any kind for any reason ever in the history of sport. Kentucky football just stinks out loud, so that doesn't surprise me that that's a blowout. But South Carolina should have been nearly as bad a blowout. I mean, there's no excuse for it not to have been. Getting up to that big lead, you're dominating all facets of the game on offense and defense both, and it's just like you completely forgot how to play. And you can't have that. You can't do that. I don't know. It gets frustrating, I guess, as Tennessee fans.
What really scares me, this week we're playing a team that it's not even in the same universe as Tennessee.
Oh, this should be a 70-point win. I mean,
but it scares me that it could
see
be.
How it won't be a 70-point win. It should be. But once again, you never know what you're going to get with Tennessee. Other than if they get a 17-point lead, look out.
Yeah.
It's going to get hairy and it's going to get close. I'm going to be yelling at my TV or wishing the ill on Butch Jones and company and the board. And God, I can't stop the I'm really concerned mainly for next year. Tennessee has a talent, we saw that this year, to play with anybody on the schedule next year and defeat them. Tennessee's going to be more experienced next year. Probably at the peak of their experience next year. They're going to have senior quarterback,
Junior running back,
junior, senior offensive line, sophomore, junior, senior defensive line, senior defensive backfield. They're going to be loaded with veterans all over the field. The coaching mistakes improve. Bush Jones refuses to acknowledge that he made coaching mistakes. So we see this, like I said, we see the same thing happening in Game 9 that we saw in Game 2. The same exact scenario. Because Bush Jones doesn't think he's doing anything wrong.
Yeah, definitely. I'm not a fan of Butch Jones anymore. I don't want to see him gone just because of the terrible shape he put the program in.
His recruiting's fine. He just needs to show that he's learned how to coach in these situations. And I know that's a big statement, but it's just the truth. You don't have the same things, the same mistakes, the same patterns happening game after game after game all season long. If there's not some underlying issue there that's causing it, and it's usually beyond talent, especially because I said we're vastly more talented.
And we know that Mike DeBoard was a payback hire.
Oh yeah, I mean, DeBoard pretty much floated. He worked in Michigan's front office. Michigan's job comes open. Suddenly, Bush Jones' name starts popping up with it. And Tennessee immediately gives Bush Jones a big raise.
Offensive coordinator leaves. There's Mike DeBoard.
And Mike DeBoard gets his first coaching job in years. Most people say that DeBoard, he was a Michigan front office person throwing Bush Jones' name out there and got Butch a nice raise. They coached together years ago at Central Michigan, and he worked for DeBoard a few times, and then it's just it's a back scratcher move. DeBoard's not coached a football game in years. DeBoard, as I always said, he turned Tom Brady, probably the best quarterback who ever played. I don't like Tom Brady.
But let's be honest, he's
probably the
very
best
much
ever played.
probably the greatest of all time.
Turned that guy into a 6th-round draft pick. That guy would have been a 1st-round draft pick on anybody else's team. But the board couldn't decide on whether to play him or not. The board rotated him and another guy at quarterback constantly. And it was just, I have no faith in the board. I feel like, it's 1999, 2000, 2001. Tennessee's just loaded full of talent. And we're going to see if Butch can 98 it, or if Butch is going to every other former year, which is you lose some disappointing games and you don't win the national championship.
Playing the Mark Richt game.
And the biggest thing about it, there's a little better chance now. All you have to do is finish in the top 4 to get a chance to play for the national title now, rather than finishing, number 1 or bust, basically number 1 or 2 or bust. But still, it's not. I don't know. I don't have the faith that some people have. I just don't see I don't see the improvement. The team is better because the team's simply more talented. The roster is better. The roster's deeper.
But it just means he recruits good.
Well, yeah.
I said it doesn't mean he coaches good. Just what we've said the whole time.
I don't see the improvement in the game plan. I said when the same mistakes plagued the team.
And years after John Chavis, we're still going, 3rd and 4th in Chavis.
I will never understand that. I don't get it. You watch Alabama play, and they're the standard right now, whether you like it or not. Ohio State, too. It's 3rd down and 9, and the pressure situation's on the line.
Yep.
You got 2 seconds to throw the ball. You don't got 20 seconds to throw the ball. You're either throwing it and completing the pass immediately, which you can't get that far down the field because you don't have time, or you're getting sacked, or you're throwing it away. And that's what they do. They dial up pressure in that situation. And John Janzik, Jones, whoever's calling it, hey, let's rush 3 guys, have a spy over here doing nothing, and put 6 people back in the zone, and give them 15 yards to run through the middle of the zone, wide open, nobody around them. And got a big fumble forced against South Carolina. Probably would have given up the play to lose that game. Florida, here we are, just having how sickening is this. Florida's 9-1 now, and honestly, they've already wrapped up the SEC East the first week of November. This was a Florida team that was won 2 or 3 games, 3 games last year, 4 games last year. Awful. Had to fire their coach, starting freshman. they had like 3 freshman offensive linemen, one guy who's never even played football before on the offensive line starting against during the season. Had to replace like 3 kickers because of injuries and just bad kicking. But they've at least tried and replaced.
We can't even replace a kicker.
And here they are 9-1, and honestly, they had to beat a couple of more tomato cans and beat a bad Florida State team. And if they can get lucky and win the SEC championship game, and
they're
Buck's
playing
on
for a
their side
title
this year. That's them in the national title game under a first-year coach who doesn't have depth, doesn't have experience. He's only coached 3 years total. I think maybe this is his 4th year total as a head coach. So, excuses are for losers. And I'll be satisfied if we can get to 84, 9-4. But I still worry about next year because of the same issues that crop up from game 1 to game 10. When the same issue crops up, that means the coaching's not really getting any better.
Well, fans, that's about it for Sports Chat this week. We'll see you next time here from Jason's Video.